This is the IFSA World Championships from Reykjavik, Iceland. Heat number 3 continues. Hi again, everybody. I'm Doug Anderson. The climate has been spectacular here in Iceland. And in previous shows, you saw guys like Robert Szczepanski, Stefan Solvi Pettersson, and of course, Travis Ortmeyer setting a new world record in the light set of stones at 19.20 seconds. The log lift proved to be the deadly part for a lot of these Heat 3 athletes. Jani Ilikainen from Finland, Irvin Katona, Kazelniks, Kirschbaumer, Pettersson, Ortmeyer, Szczepanski, and Vereshchuk round out Heat number 3.
The deadlift with the Apollon's axle. It's a static strength movement. That means the athlete stands still. It's all about back strength and grip strength.
Bernd Kirschbaumer, the first one up from Austria to take on the Apollon's axle deadlift. 320 kilos, 705 pounds. This is one of the toughest events in the competition. We know Bernd already has the sore shoulder. He's got it off the ground, but I don't think he'll go much farther than that. That shoulder is tremendously painful for the Austrian champion. Stairs Bomber is his nickname. 41 years of age, 7-time the strongest man of Austria. Bernd says he's won the strongest man of Austria 7 times, and 3 times he's been at the World Championships in South Africa in 2000, Malaysia 2002, and of course here in Iceland. I like the warmer climates. I love to compete in the warmer climates, he says, but my family has been the big backbone to my career. My wife, Margaret, my son Daniel, and my daughter Laura, who's 11 years of age. My hobbies? Well, you know, I love to swim, but eating is always a big hobby. I love to eat. The most beautiful place he's been for an event? Sun City, South Africa. Next up to take on Apollon's axle, the Finnish champion Jani Ilikainen. He's won Finland's strongest man the last 2 years, 2005 and of course 2006. It's been a rough competition so far for Jani, but he knows that he can put in a good effort here in the Apollon's axle. Once again, 320 kilos, 705 pounds. The bar has no flex in it, so it's a straight lift from the floor. There's the first repetition. Ilikainen gets number 2 up. That was a struggle, and we'll see if it affects him on rep number 3. Jani Ilikainen straightens out rep number 3, but comes down very heavily. Still plenty of time left on the clock. Struggling to get rep number 4 past the knees, and that's just not going to go. Rep number 3, I think, is where Ilikainen's going to stop. It's very difficult once you've missed a rep to come back and get enough energy through the body to be able to push out one more. It takes tremendous strength in the mind to get rep number 4 now for Jani Ilikainen of Finland. Here comes number 3, cannot get it up, and he will walk away with 3 reps to his credit. 30 years of age, 2-time Finnish strongest man, 2005 and 2006, is Jani Ilikainen, the 30-year-old Finn. At one time, Jani Ilikainen was a shot putter, but because of shoulder injuries, he's moved over to the sport of strongman, where he's proved to be one of the best that Finland has to offer. He says that his wife and kids are been his big supporters and have pushed him throughout his career in strongman. Agnes Kazelniks steps up next to take on the Apollon's axle. The big Latvian is happy to be here and happy to have the opportunity afforded to him by Raimons Burgmanis, the Latvian legend, who has been a fixture in the IFSA Strongman circuit for many, many years. 320 kilos, 705 pounds for August Kazelniks.
August, are you ready? You tell me.
Waiting for last-minute instructions from Dr. Douglas Edmonds, our head referee. And that first lift is good. You know, for a guy who says he does this more as a hobby than as a profession, August Kazelnik certainly proves that he can be with the top performers that the world has to offer here in IFSA Strongman. 4 repetitions for August Kazelniks. And that 4th repetition seemed to have taken a lot out of him. He's going to take one knee and look at the clock. Still a little bit of time left on the clock. Maybe gather himself, but it's been very difficult. Once you miss a repetition, it drains a lot of the energy from the body. Unable to get rep number 5 up is August Kazelniks. He'll walk away with 4 to his credit. Here's the young superstar from Iceland, 20-year-old Stefan Solvi Pettersson. A little bit of a smirk and a smile on his face, but he knows that he's got his work cut out for him. He needs to put up at least 5 or 6 repetitions if he has any plans of moving on to the final 12. There's the first one from Stefan Solvi Pettersson. Very comfortable through number 2. Oh, and he takes a knee right after the 2nd repetition. That's very uncharacteristic of strongmen. They need to get 3 or 4 before they can take a rep. Can he get out number 3 at least? Stefan Solvi Pettersson struggling, but he is credited with number 3. You know, even if he doesn't put up a great score here, that he has a tremendous future right here in IFSA Strongman. At 20 years of age, Stefan Solvi Pettersson has shown his hometown crowd that he will be a force to be reckoned with. 3 repetitions for the Icelander.
I wanted more, but this is what this day allowed me to do, so I'll just take it like a man and smile.
Stefan Solvi Pettersson, 20 years of age. He's a nightclub bouncer, but I'll tell you something, won 4 of the 5 contests last year that he went into.
It's always been in the back of my mind since I was a kid watching John Paul Sigmarsson and Magnús Sverrir Magnússon. Just like most kids in Iceland, we like strength, strongman, lifting stones, and I've been doing it and having interest since I was a kid, working in the countryside with my grandfather, lifting stones. And first time I compete in an international event was in Ukraine this summer, World's Strongest Nation, with Team Iceland. It was great fun. It's just Vikings in the old days were just crazy and invaded someone and killed them. And like John Paul said, we can't do that anymore. You go to prison, so we just attack stones, kill them, be crazy, legally.
Here's another young man on the horizon for IFSA Strongman. He was sick, he's lost 30 pounds. He was down to 275 at one point in the season. He's now up to 287 pounds. This is American Travis Ortmeyer from Houston, Texas. 320 kilos, 705 pound, giant Apollon Axel. There's 1 rep, and boy, that was a struggle just to get that one up. Ortmeyer needs the points in the standings, and he's just unable to get the big giant Apollon's Axel up for a 2nd rep. One of the big keys for Travis Ortmeyer is he's able to play mind tricks on himself and courage himself into being one of the best strongmen he can be. It's always about the mind for Travis. This time, it's about only 1 repetition. Travis looks like he may have pulled a calf muscle on this one, and it's always difficult coming out from the warm-up area into the event area where it's a little bit cooler. Travis will walk away with 1 repetition, and he does not look happy at all.
I don't think it's a good idea to push the limits of the human body in 0 degrees Celsius. That's all I'm gonna say.
They call him the Texas Stoneman. I call him the King of the Stones. He holds the world record in the light set of the stones and the heavy set. Travis Ortmeyer from Houston, Texas.
Actually, I've lifted weights since I was 12 years old, and I never really thought much about this sport until I was almost 21. I was going to go watch a friend of mine compete in his very first show. I decided to do it the night before and ended up placing 5th, so it just kind of came naturally to me. And since then I've been completely addicted to it. I would never think of changing my sport. I think family support definitely helps with mental toughness. I had a tough mother growing up. She never babied me, so I think that's part of it. I think that, you know, having their support, giving me that mental toughness has gotten me to this point because, you know, in the gym, I'm really not anywhere near as strong as most of these guys, but I can pull it out on competition. People at home see us on TV, they think we're all meatheads, you know, just all big, strong guys lifting weights. It's not it at all. There's research engineers, there's missile engineers. I'm in school for biotechnology. All these guys are very intelligent people. It's kind of shocking.
Up next to take on Apollin's Axel in the deadlift is Ukraine's Vasyl Vereshchuk, the former world champion. The mark of a world champion, the mark of a true champion, is those who work on their weaknesses to become better all-around athletes. Vasyl Vereshchuk in the past has had difficulty and all sorts of difficulty with any portion of a deadlift. He's worked tremendously hard over the past few years on his deadlift. We'll see if that will affect him today, if he's able to move up in the standings. That's a good one from Vasyl Vereshchuk. Now remember, this Apollin's Axel sits at 320 kilos, 705 pounds. Is a giant bar, not the kind of a bar you would find in a regular weightlifting gym. There is no flex to this bar. Some athletes say it's like a dead weight that you pick up right from the ground. 4 repetitions now for Vasyl Vereshchuk. This is a good showing. If he can get up 1 more repetition, that is a big, solid effort for a man who's worked very hard on his deadlift. Vereshchuk trying to lock it out, looks over for the signal and gets it. That's 5 repetitions, and then he says, yeah, that's enough. Vasyl Vereshchuk, 5 repetitions in Apollin's Axel.
I'm happy. 5 repetition. That's very good for me. Thank you.
Indeed, 5 repetitions is very good for Vasyl Vereshchuk, but Irvin Katona needs points in the standings, and the Serbian champion has to step up his game. He locks in the straps. Will he go with a cross-handed grip? Yes, he will. He's going to flip over the strap now. Nope, he's going to go with a straight grip. So here's Irvin Katona of Serbia. Very steady on rep number 1. Katona struggles with rep number 2, but locks it out nicely. Able to straighten up rep number 3, and he's been very patient and very consistent through the first 3 reps. So Irvin Katona knows what he needs to do. Nice job to lean back and straighten out rep number 4. Katona now looking to move into a first place tie with Vasyl Vereshchuk. He has it at the knees. It's going to take a second effort to get rep number 5, and he puts in that second effort and will walk away currently tied for first with Vasyl Vereshchuk of the Ukraine.
Feel very bad.
I am very tired. I home in this time. I'm always sleeping. This is not good for me in competition. And very fast competition for me. No time for relax.
One man left to take on Apollon's Axel. At 320 kilos, 705 pounds, it's Poland's Robert Szczepanski moving in. Now, Szczepanski won the log lift for reps with 8 repetitions. Maximus has been having a great competition thus far, and he wants to continue along that lines with Apollon's Axel. There's a good job on the deadlift for number 1. Now he moves up to his second rep. See the quick pace that he's keeping? That is something that he's going to want to do through 3 or 4 reps, and then maybe take a knee and take a break. Szczepanski using the upper body strength to his advantage. Notice he flexes the biceps and then straightens out on the repetition. There is number 4 for Robert Szczepanski. This next repetition will put him in a first place tie with Vereshchuk and Katona. With 5 repetitions, Szczepanski gets number 5. Still plenty of time left on the clock if he wants to take a break, or he could go right after number 6 while he's on a roll. Yes, he will drop to a knee. Take a break, because why not use the time to rejuvenate the muscles? Robert Szczepanski looks to get rep number 6, and again, he'll win the event, the deadlift of the Apollon's Axel. 320 kilos, 705 pounds goes up for Robert Szczepanski. There's number 6, and that puts him in the lead. The win of the event goes to Robert Szczepanski of Poland. What a great day of competition for heat number 3. Augustus Kazelniks. How about the young superstar from Iceland in Stefan Solvi Pettersson? Some disappointments and some great efforts. Here's the result board from the deadlift Apollon's Axel, with Szczepanski picking up the first place points. Katona and Vereshchuk have second place points.
The medley, it's all about agility and all-round body strength and movement for the athlete.
Dr. Douglas Edmonds, the head referee here for IFSA Strongman's World Championships in Reykjavik, Iceland. Bernd Kirschbaumer has withdrawn from the competition, so the medley this time will be by one man, and that is Jani Ilikainen, the Finnish champion. The 410-kilo Goodyear tire at 904 pounds must be flipped 3 times, and then he shall move on to the Alcan aluminum block load. The first block at 110 kilos, 243 pounds for Jani Ilikainen. Two-time Finland's strongest man. Boy, he's having trouble getting a grip. You see, some of the athletes are trying to use gloves to get a better grip on the Alcan aluminum here in these very, very frigid temperatures. 120 kilos now. Boy, Ilikainen's using a lot of his allotted time, and 120 kilos goes up. A 90-second time limit for the athletes. This is the 130-kilo, 287-pound block of aluminum. The challenge sometimes is walking it to the front of the platform and then loading it. Ilikainen, no problem with that one. He'll stop the clock at 84.42 seconds. Our first head-to-head matchup in the medley has Augustus Kazelniks from Latvia taking on Stefan Solvi Pettersson of Iceland. Pettersson, slow to come out of the gate, gets ready to go. The first flip of the Goodyear tire goes down. Pettersson with 2 quick flips. Now on to number 3, and this is a big key for the young 20-year-old. He'll load the first 110-kilo aluminum block. Kazelniks having some difficulty. Look at Pettersson, he's flying through the blocks. Back for his third and final block is Stefan Solvi Pettersson as Kazelniks loads number 120. Here's the final one for Pettersson at 38.14 seconds, stopping the clock. Kazelniks will load the 130 and stop the clock at 46.54 seconds. You definitely have to be happy with that effort, young Mr. Pettersson. Travis Ortmeyer of the United States trying to psych himself up after somewhat of a disaster in Apollon's Axel, and he's taking on the former world champion from 2004, Ukraine's Vasil Vereshchuk. On the tire flip, both men get their first flip down. Oh, you look at Ortmeyer looking over at the former world champion. He knows this is one that he wants to win. The third flip goes down. Vereshchuk having difficulty. Ortmeyer gets his first aluminum block up. So does Vereshchuk at 110. Ortmeyer at the 120 now. 38.14 by Pettersson is the lead time. Oh, difficulty from Vereshchuk on block number 2 at 120. Ortmeyer at 130 will load the lot. 41.11 seconds, and Vereshchuk stops the clock at 44.36 seconds. So with heat number 3 coming to a close, it's time for the semifinals to come to an end, and the athletes need time to rest. They need time to visit the legendary Blue Lagoon in Iceland.
I'm the most important man.
For some, it's time that their competition has come to an end. Others, it's time to move on to the finals. The guests here at the Blue Lagoon enjoy bathing and relaxing in the geothermal seawater, known for its positive effects on the skin. The benefit from its unique active ingredients, the minerals, silica, and blue-green algae.
My face is frozen, but I'm a tough guy, so.
The lagoon holds 6 million liters of geothermal seawater, all of which is renewed in just 40 hours. Every one of our strongmen thoroughly enjoyed visiting the Blue Lagoon. Truly an oasis here on Earth. Always looking for a little power from the countryside below. You know, sometimes when we see these strongmen lift these big, giant Goodyear tires at 410 kilos, they do it alone 3 times in a row, and it takes 3 men just to lift the tire to get it in place. Here's Poland's Robert Szczepanski, the current leader in heat number 3, and Ervin Katona of Serbia. Szczepanski, a powerhouse. Tremendous upper body strength. Katona has been having a very, very solid competition as well. There is the third flip for each of them. They both know they need to post a pretty good number in order to move on to the finals. Szczepanski, by virtue of winning a couple of events, may already have made the finals. Katona moving at a quick pace through 120 kilos. Szczepanski having trouble with the Alcan aluminum blocks. He gets up number 120. Katona, the 130, 287-pound block is up and on. That stops the clock at 48.15 seconds. Szczepanski is having all sorts of difficulty with the 130K implement. That block as he moves slowly to the front of the platform. Gets it up and on, stopping the clock at 63.68 seconds, does Robert Szczepanski of Poland. The medley is one of the toughest events these athletes have to endure. The tire weighing 410 kilos, 900 pounds, and of course the aluminum blocks up to 130 kilos has pressed them to the limits. Stefan Solvay Pettersson, the best time and the best point so far. Ortmeyer and Vereshchuk in second and third. Overall in heat number 3, Shapansky and Vereshchuk tied with 30 points. Katona had 28, Ortmeyer 27 and a half. So the 12 finalists are now set to battle for the IFSA crown of strongest men in the world. And they feature the current IFSA world champion, Zydrunas Savickas of Lithuania, former world champion Vasil Vereshchuk of Ukraine, and last year's podium finisher Mikhail Kuklayev of Russia. I'm Doug Anderson. Thanks for joining us. Visit us on the web at IFSAStrongman.com.